To capture change and impact that was being made by youth across Ontario, we traveled to different cities across the province to interview the youth personally.
I'm Adel.
I'm Hamza.
I'm Becca.
I'm Thane.
My name is Travis Franklin.
Jane Guanpong.
My name is Andre.
I'm David. This is Eileen.
My name is Zachary Root.
My name is David McMillan.
I'm Mackenzie.
I'm Angela.
My name is Autumn Pelche.
Igor Duluska.
We wanted to know who these individuals were making these positive impacts in the communities, so we started by asking them a simple question. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Adel.
I'm Hamza.
We're both engineering students at Ryerson and UFT, and we both come from Thorncliffe. Well, I think one of the things, as we noticed before, one of the things that drove us to doing this kind of work is the fact that we're very diverse, but we're very isolated from the rest of the city. And our neighborhood, we have people from all over the world in our neighborhood. And the thing is, everybody has an individual story, an experience, something that can change the world. And we were inspired by the Humans of New York page and how they could get stories that you've never, how every person has a unique story or experience that could change somebody's life. And in our neighborhood, we have people from all over the world. Your next door neighbor could have a story that could change the rest of your life and your insight and everything. And we have people in our neighborhood. We have taxi drivers who are doctors.
Yeah, just to give you an insight on this neighborhood. I mean, the local pizza delivery guy has a PhD. Your local taxi driver was probably a doctor back home. We have soldiers who come from war-driven countries. So this is a very this neighborhood is populated with immigrants from all over the world, and it's just very beautiful how people from all these different countries can come and just connect with their culture. And this is what we're trying to do with our project. We're trying to connect everyone with the rest of the city.
I'm Becca. I live currently in Kitchener-Waterloo, and I am a student, and I have gotten to do a lot of really cool work with youth during my time at university. And, yeah.
I'm Thane. I'm currently focusing, my passion is connecting people and creating that community, and so that's what the basis of all of my endeavors are.
I'm Eileen Latandri-Trudeau, and I'm pansexual and non-binary, so I don't specifically address myself as a man or a woman.
I am David. I am a trans man, and I am 15 right now. I live in Wiki, and I used to live in Sault Ste. Marie, but now I live down here again.
My name is Travis Franklin, and I'm 17 years old. I used to live in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and now I live in Amherst, Ontario. I'm currently sitting on Children's Mental Health Ontario. I also sit on a board of directors in Thunder Bay for the Thunder Bay Youth Connections Coalition Board. Lots of people don't look at youth as a business leader or a corporate expert. But currently, we still struggle with the same sort of issue, and lots of the issues being not all of our members are 18, so many of our members actually can't sign off on many bank-related or any kind of official government-related business, which makes it very hard for a board of directors filled with youth to move forward.
My name is Autumn Pelche. I'm of the Eagle Clan, and I come from the Wokomekong Unceded Indian Reserve. And I'm in grade 6. I'm 11 years old, and I am a fancy shawl dancer and traditional dancer. If you go down at the bay, you could see there's algae in the water, and there's foam, and there's all kinds of garbage. And it's not just in my community. There's other communities like that as well. If you go and see our community dump, there's no recycling. There's no organization. It's just people just throw things there, and I'd like to see that change and be cleaned up, because that is a big part in climate change as well.
My name is David McMillan, and I'm 23. I'm a political science and human rights student at Carleton University. I have been working for the past year with the AIDS Committee of Ottawa. The AIDS Committee of Ottawa is a HIV prevention, support, outreach, and education service organization. They operate in Ottawa for people impacted by, living with, and affected by HIV. And they operate through an anti-racist, anti-oppression framework. A lot of the challenges that youth face aren't just getting their voices heard, but being respected. Being respected in the workplace is vital to empowering youth to engage more and to become more knowledgeable.
I am the program worker for the Village Blog Girls. My job is to design the program and facilitate it as well. They're dealing with different forms of oppression, so they're dealing with racism at school. Although some of them can't name it, they know what it is and know what it feels like. They're dealing with sexism, you know, from the time they leave the house to the time they get back in, sometimes inside the house, because people think they're entitled to girls in particular, their attention, their responses, their bodies and stuff. So they're dealing with that. They're dealing with peer pressure. You know, again, that age range is a time where sometimes they experiment with things, and they're dealing with the pressure of needing to be cool, needing to fit in, and just feeling like they belong. I think that's a really big issue. And that's not even all of them, that's just a few, really.
I'm Mackenzie, and I'm Angela.
A lot of the issues we saw in the community were just that this area, since there's a lot of geared to income housing, there's also no programming in this area. So there used to be a community center on College Ave, which is just a few streets over, that closed around the same time as we were looking to start up our program. And we knew this area was a low income area and there wasn't a lot of things in the West End going on, and just wanted to kind of develop positive opportunities for youth. And then it just kind of happened to be at the same time we wanted to develop something that the community center closed, and that was just kind of like more initiative for us to get some positive opportunities. And I asked them, there was 4 things that were like main things that kept coming up, and one of them was poverty, and that included like food security, financial security, housing conditions. Another one was safety, and that was in their house, their community, and their school. There was a lot of safety issues with fights, abuse, bullying. Another one that they talked a lot about was lack of positive opportunities. So just like programming like ours, there's not any free or like non-expensive programming in this area.
And there's really nothing for them to do.
Yeah, and a lot of them talked about just like recreation programs or sports programs and stuff like that that they really don't have here or that their families can afford. With cleanliness in their community, they talked a lot about like there's just garbage everywhere, and there's no recycling in this community where all the geared to income housing is.
There's a big
They
dumpster.
do not pick up recycling. So I was delighted to hear the kids talk about that as an issue in their community and that they wanted recycling here. So those were really like heartwarming to hear, and then they gave us a lot of suggestions of how they'd like to see those things change that were really awesome too, like suggesting more programming, suggesting to make sure all the schools had like the breakfast programs and things like that, not just some schools, and having like cleanup programs and environmental initiatives, academic help and tutoring, and they wanted more positive mentors in their community as well, and just like community support, and they were talking about those as things they would like to see change. And I thought that was really awesome to hear from them, and to know that they know what they want and they might just need some help getting there.
My name is Andre. I'm a grade 12 student. I am from Mexican Canadian background, and I'm a member of Teens Ending Abusive Relationship, which is a youth group from Victim Services Toronto. Some of the things I do involves violence and stereotypes. So when I came to Canada, I experienced firsthand a lot of issues when it comes to prejudgment, stereotypes about Latin Americans specifically, and I saw how hate and these ideas can drag people down. So I wanted to start an initiative in which we create a society in which there's no prejudgment, no stereotypes, and so that people be who they truly are and not other people deciding who you are for yourself.
It all started like almost 2 years ago. I just walked into the library and and they were doing a spoken word workshop, and I went in there not expecting anything, and I met a man named Riddell, another dude named Jason, and they run this organization called Rise. I went there once, it's an every Monday event, and I never stopped going, and I don't know, Riddell, who was my mentor for a whole year, has been teaching me poetry, and I was able to speak to audiences I never thought that I could reach, and I was able to really get out of my my shell. Like, I was a very shy kid, and I don't know, it was really empowering for me, and I thought, like, wow, if this can happen to me, other people can do this too.
My name's Zachary Roos. Lived in Sarnia here for about 3 years, and being involved in the community is a big part of my life. For most people, they know me as the guy who wears plaid. I'm not wearing any today. I really should have thought about that. But being involved really has been a big part of my life, from starting the GSA and starting some student leadership groups to this event here, the reaching out and being part of the Youth Suicide Prevention Committee. It's good to be involved in the community and see the support that's offered. So some of the signs that the issue was happening in the community was we noticed a spike in youth suicides. Youth were coming forward with suicidal ideation and contemplation, and it was really affecting the community. And a group of youth came together and came up with the logo for Reach Out. And we have wristbands that went around to the community, and it kind of sparked a momentum for youth suicide prevention here in the community, kind of rallied around together to support each other.
Now that we've gotten to better know some of these individuals, we wanted to ask them more about the initiatives that they're taking part in within their communities.
We were inspired by Humans of New York, which is obviously, as many know, a huge page now with millions of followers. So we kind of wanted a mini version of that within Thorncliffe Park, just so you could connect youth to other cities. And now one issue which we faced during this was the fact that the people in our communities are very conservative, especially the parents, not so much the youth. And this is one of the reasons that the youth kind of can't always do what they want to do, right? Because it's the parents who kind of just go over them. So if you go on our Facebook page, it's called Humans of Thorncliffe Park, you will be able to see that some of the pictures that we started with, it's not people's face, it's their back. It's people who are like, you can take a picture of me, I will share my story, but I don't want my face in there, I want my back. And that's how we started. And we both learned in the process as well how to approach people, how to talk to people, how to ask them for their stories.
Yeah, so our initiative was basically to build that bridge between people within our own neighborhood and with our neighborhood and the rest of the city, and to give people a voice that gets drowned down a lot of times in the media and stuff. Like, they don't get that voice. So we tried expressing that voice in that kind of way in photography, which is a medium that we love. So we just thought that would be a great way to do it with our photography page. So what happened is, me and him were talking about it for a long time. We're thinking of ways to do because we lived in our neighborhood. We both moved into our neighborhood around middle school. So we both noticed the kind of our past experiences in other part of the city, and this is our experience in Thorncliffe. We realized that we needed to do something, and we saw the Humans of New York page, and we thought, this is something that we could do. We have people from all over the world, and we, a lot of times, at first we were really reluctant because we're just high schoolers, and as he said, we come from a traditional, a lot of people come from traditional backgrounds and conservative backgrounds, and they're really afraid. It's hard for them to trust you. So to just get them to talk, let alone take pictures of them, was really hard. But we decided, what, we're free on a weekend, let's just go and let's try our luck. We talked to a few people, we got a few pictures, we got a few stories, we posted it on our Facebook, and it went.
We're Project Uprooted. It started when Becca was like, hey, I have this idea for a thesis. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, Thane and I were working together, and I think I maybe knew him for 2 months. And then I was like, oh, hey, you do film. Let's talk. And basically, I'm in a program where I have sort of creative control over my degree. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to do a paper. I don't want to do a paper. I want to sit in a cubicle going through information. I want to get out there and do something. And myself, I have always identified as an activist. And had always felt the sort of tensions with that label within like my life and within, you know, the way media shows those sort of things. And I was like, we need to go talk to, like, I wanted to go talk to youth about what it meant for them to be an activist, because my perspective is totally different from someone else's. So I was like, yeah, let's just go across the country. And I was like, I need a friend to go with me. So then I was like, hey, Faye, let's go across the country and talk to youth about this stuff. And it sort of like this initiative was sort of what both of us were thinking about at the same time. So it sort of came at a good opportunity for both of us. And then once we were sort of on that trip, it was very clear that this was something that youth wanted to talk about, and that this was something that like people really grasped onto, and it just kind of went from there.
Yeah, and so now it started out as a documentary of us just going off like our gut feeling about how youth felt, and now after talking to over 80 youth and hearing their desire of forming some sort of next level to this, we're in the planning stages of how do we bring that community together? How do we create a connection across youth across this country? And that's what Project Uprooted is growing into.
What I remember was that Sarah was talking one day about starting this group. We didn't have a name or anything for it yet. It was just pretty much like that one group, like, hey, we could start a GSA. Like if the school won't let us, how about we do it? So well, not really me. I was just along for the ride. I got involved though. Anyway, she brought it up a few times. I was pretty interested, because I wanted to see if there was anyone else in the city, in the town here, like me, like if they were trans or if they were anything but straight, pretty much. Yeah, it was just, she kept bringing it up. I was interested. We set things up sort of, well, mostly her and Eileen, they set things up together. I just sort of hung around and offered my input when needed. I did help design these things though.
Currently, the board is running a single pilot project called Connect to Youth. This pilot project is a social media platform where they will run a website, Facebook, and Twitter account in which they will be able to connect youth to essential services in their community. This pilot project is potentially going to make it very easy for youth to find out about services and also be able to get connected with them.
The AIDS Committee of Ottawa is an organization that provides support, prevention, education, and outreach services from an integrated anti-racism, anti-oppression, social justice framework that promotes the holistic well-being of those living with, affected by, and impacted and at risk of HIV/AIDS in Ottawa.
In the beginning, we were really figuring things out. We were trying to understand, what do the girls want to do? How do they, what kinds of things do they want to learn about? So a lot of that was the first and second year, just figuring what do they want to do. And for myself, I was figuring out how to facilitate, because I had done it before, but not in this capacity. So I was really figuring out how to plan, how to not read off my paper, how to engage with what is being said and not kind of move on. How to debrief, because debriefs are very important to planning. And so in the third and fourth year, so now we're in our fourth year, I've just seen like such an ease that the girls come into the room with they come in and it's like automatic debrief sessions with them. They talk about school, they talk about pop culture, they talk to each other, and with the mentorship component in particular, I've seen that grow a lot because they've been matched since the first year. So they're much more comfortable talking to each other.
We're the program coordinators of this project, which is called Advocating Young Minds. We do a number of outreach initiatives in the west end of Windsor, but our main project right now is this drop-in center. It's a drop-in youth program for kids under 14. We're in a residential house right now that's reserved by the city for programming, and on Tuesday and Thursday evenings the kids in this area can drop in. It's free, and we're doing a number of activities with them. We have art and recreation, we do a snack program, make sure everyone's fed, we have homework help and tutoring in our computer lab in the basement, We take them on outings, field trips. Once a month we try to get them involved in the community, doing volunteer or just events, just getting them engaged. Our priorities really are empowerment of youth through our programming, and the engagement in the community, and just trying to keep kids off the street. We're in a low-income area right now. There's a lot of geared-to-income housing communities on Windsor's west side. So we're just trying to provide some positive stuff for the kids in this area. Like I said, the house was filthy when we moved in because there hadn't been anything happening here in so long, and so many programs had come in and out, and it wasn't in good shape. So we showed up just to like scrub and mop, and weren't even planning on opening for the longest time, and kids could see like, oh, there's something happening in that empty house. So they were like peering in the windows, and they came to the back gate and they're like, what are you guys doing? So we told them in a few weeks we're going to be opening a free youth program, and they were like, oh my gosh. So they asked all these questions, and they're all telling each other, and they just flocked to the door. Suddenly there was 4 kids, and then there's 10 kids, and then there's 15. So definitely just word of mouth has been our most successful outreach strategy around here. We tried like sending out flyers and using social media and stuff, but definitely on the west side, I think the families are more, I don't know, they just know each other on a personal level, and you have to show up and be there to get to know everyone and become part of their community to really spread the word about things. And especially among the kids, they all play together, so as soon as 5 kids knew about our program, all of them knew about our program. So that's pretty much how they started showing up.
I'm a member of Teens Ending Abusive Relationships, and that organization started a couple of years, 4 years ago actually. And it didn't start with me, it started with other students, and I joined in their second year. What we do is we have a presentation and we have a Twitter chat in which we discuss different issues that are going on, or trending topics in our community. For example, the Syrian refugee crisis, cyber violence. And we try to spread awareness and make people speak up. When we started, I think we only had the presentation, which is an about 60 to 90 minutes long presentation, and they went to high schools discussing about domestic violence in specific, because we were teens ending abusive relationships. Now we have evolved into more an anti-stereotype, anti-bullying, anti-harassment group, and we discuss all topics that had to do with social crisis. For example, stereotypes. What else? Well, cyberbullying. We didn't used to discuss that because it wasn't a thing back in the days, but now it is. Gender roles. We discuss different ideas that so we can spread our message out to the people. For example, normally we would have a topic in which we feel needs addressing, and we would say, how can we spread this message to the community or to the youth? And we will brainstorm ideas, for example, make videos, make songs, and we also create the questions for our Twitter chat, which is every Thursday at 7 p.m. at night. And I also give presentations in my school, and if they want me to do a presentation in some other school, they will call me and I will gladly go and speak up.
So I recently founded the Carefree Black Boy Project. So I have 5 older brothers, and I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida. We were immigrants, Asian immigrants, and I just say it was very hard for us to mix in with American culture. The way they had to create this persona, this bravado, this being like strong all the time and really aggressive to survive in that sort of horrible neighborhood that we lived in. It was weird to see, because like I knew them as children and how magical they were, how carefree they were. They would just do revolutionary things just by being kids. Kids really, kids are just really carefree. They really live life to the fullest, and I feel like that's such a gift to have. And I wanted to bring that back. Me and my team actually, we started to interview Black males across the GTA, and creating a photo essay and collecting and archiving all this work. Of seeing and asking them questions around their masculinity and how they found what are key parts about it, and interesting things about them. We just wanted to show people that like they're really diverse, that there's a lot of ways to be a man, and this movement has been great. We've been given a lot of support from our community and from working with Rise and Claim Your Voice. Like both of those communities have really supported me. And I've been mentored by Speak Sudan, Rania from Speak Sudan. I was in one of her programs. She's been mentoring and helping me create this organization. And a lot of people have actually just been mentoring me and like really giving me the power to do this.
So our initiative started 3 years ago when funding was received through the Ministry of Education to create youth suicide prevention strategies for Sarnia Lambton. And a group of service providers came together and said, what can we do? What can we offer? And they said, we need to have the experts in on this. So they reached out and they said, let's get the youth in. Let's get the youth involved. And that kind of sparked the youth kind of really pushing this project and pushing this initiative in the community. So our story is kind of community outreach. We want to be able to inform the community about suicide prevention strategies and give them the resources that they can use in their day-to-day lives. We offer that through the Reaching Out Conference, which is the one-day event. We also offered safe talk training and assist training. And something that we came up with, We Care packages, which came with resources to be given out in the emergency room at the hospital and to service providers to youth at risk.
So being more informed about the initiatives that they're involved in, we asked them after that, what impact do they think they're making in their communities?
The impact, it varies from person to person, of course, but generally I've seen them feel more connected to each other. So that looks like them being able to ask questions, questions they would never have asked in the beginning of the year. I've seen some of them become more comfortable speaking up. If I ask a question, they're able to answer it, and it sounds small, but when you consider that some of these girls came in terrified of just being in a space they'd never been in before. It's a big step. It's a big milestone.
One of the successes we had in our initiative is that our Twitter chat has increased drastically from when it first started. At the beginning, we were a few, maybe 50 people participating, and now we have people from all over the world, like Australia or the United Kingdom, participating in our Twitter chat. And we reached amazing numbers in our trends. We normally go into the top 10 in Canada when we have our Twitter chat. We have impressions of over 15 million people, and we have incredible outreach through our social media initiative.
We got an email from a participant, one of the many emails, but after we'd done a workshop, like a day of filming with them, and they emailed us and they said thank you. They for the past bit, they had been just feeling so down, so isolated, that they were the only ones thinking that things were not okay. People in their family, people in their friend circles, just leave it alone. Don't be sensitive. Don't worry about that. It's okay. If you just work hard, you'll be all right. And them saying thank you for creating a group where I could come and breathe, that I could come and listen to other people my age that are saying the same things, that are willing to teach me and to learn from me. And I think that's, when I read that, I just think about that email, and if there's just one person that we can show that there's other people saying the same things as them, that's enough for me. That's enough change.
Before ending the interview, we asked these great individuals what is their vision for youth in their community.
My vision for how I would like to see this group transform the community is so we will have a community who is more accepting and more willing to talk about the issues instead of just shoving them under the rug, because everyone in this community matters, and I don't really think we get to really reach out to more of the community members. And I just really want to see more parents involved in accepting, and more elders being like, yeah, they're making great change, and I could see the change in the community, and it's a positive change.
We have a few different levels to our vision. First and foremost, their basic needs. Like we were saying, we want to make sure, all the kids have food in their bellies and somewhere safe to go. I like to think of this house as like a safe house for them, so they know they can drop in. There's someone positive to talk to. There's something positive to do. So just creating those positive opportunities. But then on a larger level, we'd like to see them still getting more involved in the community, collaborating with other groups, and giving back to other projects who've supported our project. People who've made donations and organizations that have helped us out. And we're trying to expand to be open more days a week so that we can be even more accessible and make an even bigger impact. Right now we're open 2 days, but we'd like to be running as an after-school program every day of the week.
And I'm also making these bracelets and necklaces for to raise money for the communities across Canada that they can't drink their water, and so I'm going to be raising money so that they can have clean drinking water, because it's not just my community. There's a lot of other communities in Canada that can't drink their water.
Tell us a bit of advice for youth who also want to be leaders in their communities.
I just want everyone to just step back a bit and just and really think about a healthy sense of identity, whether that be manhood or womanhood, and understand that we're all just different, and we should really aspire to acknowledge those differences.
So some lessons that I'd like youth to take away from this is, first of all, know your status. It's important to have open discussions to reduce stigma, and it's also really important to ensure that you get involved and that you get knowledgeable, because if you become knowledgeable on those things that you are passionate about, then you set yourself up for amazing opportunities in the future.
Say is, don't underestimate yourself because you're youth. Just because you're youth, many people will put you down and try and turn you down, but you are still capable of putting the time in, and you are still intelligent enough to create an organization and run it.
Whatever they want to do, whether it's spoken word, whether it's schooling, whatever they want to do, art, whatever, we just want them to have the opportunity that we continue to have to this day, whether it's through social media or other mediums, just to express themselves and be who they are and just take initiative.
You're not alone in the things that you want to do. Like, if you want to change your community, if you want to change this country, like, that you're not by yourself. There are other people like you, and like, they are as willing to talk about this stuff as you are, regardless of whether or not your family shuts you down or your school shuts you down or whatever. Like, there are people out there who want to engage in this stuff, and you should just do it.
I would tell youth to take the chance, I think many of us feel like we have some great ideas and great voices and things that we want to suggest, but we feel like we can't, it's adult talk. And I feel like we got to challenge that, to come forward and say, hey, I have an amazing idea. Because honestly, the community will listen, the community will answer, and they'll find a way that they can help with this. If you see an issue and want to help change that, they'll find the place where we can help change that, to be yourself and not have to worry about it. We're all different, we're all unique, and that's what makes society, that's what makes communities amazing and beautiful, because each of us has something to offer, and I think that we need to step forward and let our colors shine.
If we put our mind to it, commit and grind to it, push past divine limits, we could bring change. Ooh, out with the old, in with the new. We bring the change because we are the youth. It takes 1% at a time to change what we see over time to time. Out with the old, in with the new. We bring the change because we are the youth. They try to push us down, back onto the ground, knock our dreams and block away all of our sound. But look what we found. If we know that we're down, we can possibly rearrange all of your town. Did you not see it? The power of youth. Election 2K15 when we elect the truth. Oh yeah. Don't underestimate us. We push past all the haters. They just try interface us. Please raise your expectations. Do yo If we put our mind to it, commit and grind to it, push past divine limits, we could bring change. Out with the old, in with the new. We bring the change because we are the youth. It takes 1% at a time, time to change what we see over time. Time to time, out with the old, in with the new. We bring the change because we are the youth. We need to stand out strong. Sing our power song, beat down all of the stigma by proving them wrong. The world ain't right, but we got the new view. We need each other's light if we gonna pull through. We finna raise our voice, give them a choice to help a cause or be the cause of lost rejoice. Use the disrespect to fuel the fire. Step it up and never let our passion retire. Do yo